weather is brought to you by the Medical Center.
Good evening, everyone. Meteorologist McFarland's here with a live look at your weather forecast and checking out the rain totals from across the state. Bowling Green only had trace amounts, but if you look towards our east, Somerset had well over an inch, Jackson had over an inch and a half, and spots like Lexington and Louisville had over a quarter and nearly half an inch. But those spots were some of the spots that did see some severe weather moving through in the afternoon. Unlike us, we really didn't have a whole lot, and this is definitely a good thing on our end. But first, let's go ahead and check out the weather headlines across the area. Severe thunderstorms will be ending. In fact, they've already ended. We do still have a chance of rain overnight tonight, and they'll last through tomorrow. And also with the two cold fronts moving through, we're expecting much cooler conditions for this week as opposed to last week where we were in the 80s for most of the time. Now, just looking at the radar, as you can notice, we're sitting pretty clear, just a few clouds hanging around, and that'll be the case for most of the overnight hours. But the closer we get to sunrise, the rain chances will eventually come back. And looking out at the rest of the area, you do notice that there are severe thunderstorm warnings to our north there in Indiana. Even a couple tornado warnings have moved through around there as well. But as far as we're concerned, we're sitting pretty and looking off to our west. Not a whole lot's going to be headed our way just yet, but like I mentioned before, some things will get here by the early morning hours, but nothing in the way of severe weather. All that is expected to stay off to our east for the next couple days. Now, let's go ahead and check out the front map and how this front is going to behave over the next few days. And this is going to go ahead and move off towards our east. High pressure is going to settle in along with much cooler air before another front moves through on Wednesday. And if we go ahead and check out Tuesday first, you'll notice we'll have isolated rain for both Tuesday and Monday, and then it'll eventually come to an end later on in the day on Wednesday. Now, looking back at the temperatures, notice 66 degrees here in Bowling Green. As we go ahead and move on to tonight's forecast, 56 for a low, so we're not too far away from that point right now. Isolated showers are still possible, and mostly cloudy conditions have only been persisting through the weekend, and that is expected to last all the way through Tuesday and even some spots of Wednesday as well. Now, if we go ahead and put the Future Max predictor into motion, you notice those clouds hanging around, even some showers in the early morning. And as we move on in the afternoon, this is where a chance of thunderstorms do return. But then as we move on in the evening, things begin to clear up just a little bit before we do have a little bit more rain returning on Tuesday, particularly just isolated chances in the afternoon. And then on Wednesday, the next front is going to come down from the north, and that's when our temperatures are really going to drop at that point. We may only have a high on Thursday of 65 degrees. Now, here's a quick look at your high temperatures for Rough River Lake. Notice Litchfield only getting up to about 73 degrees. Definitely a big change because they reached 82 for a high in the earlier part of the day. Now, for tomorrow in Bowling Green, 73 is expected. Isolated rain and thunderstorms like I mentioned before, and definitely cooler with temperatures dropping about 9 degrees with that northwest wind. Now, here's going to be a last look at your 7-day forecast. Like I mentioned before, rain and thunderstorms for tomorrow. Then on Tuesday, we do have isolated rain with the temperature continuing to drop. And then on Wednesday, make it up to 71 degrees with that next front moving down from the north and dropping our temperature all the way down to 65 degrees by Thursday. But the good news is all the rain should be over at that point, and the temperatures will be back in the 80s by the weekend.